This week on Inside Boulder News, crews continue to remove dangerous tree limbs damaged in the March 23rd snowstorm. The city debuts a new way to communicate with the public, and City Council recognizes the Sister Cities Program Volunteer of the Year. Welcome to Inside Boulder News. I'm Ashley Prill. As soon as the March 23rd snowstorm hit, the City of Boulder's Forestry Department went to work assessing damaged trees. They scanned the city street by street to identify high and low priority broken limbs.
Right now we're working on those limbs that we considered high priority. We consider them high priority based upon their size, whether they're still attached in the trees or not attached, the amount of traffic that's underneath them, whether it's foot traffic or vehicle traffic, and the lower priority limbs or hanging limbs would be, just a smaller diameter. They're really lodged well up in the tree and probably in your more low traffic residential areas.
In order to address the problem quickly, the city hired 3 contractors. 2 are dedicated to working on city streets, and 1 is addressing issues in the parks.
Once our contractor gets up into the tree, they can often see a lot more than we can see from the ground. Just smaller breaks or breaks in larger limbs that are not apparent from the ground. So what they're doing is just a full tree assessment, taking out anything that is imminently dangerous or could be dangerous later on if we received another snowstorm or a windstorm. So when we walk away from that tree, we can be confident that it's a safe tree.
The city anticipates the damaged limb removal to take at least 4 weeks to complete. To work efficiently, the damaged limbs removed by contractors will be picked up as part of a special citywide curbside collection.
As the contractors are working on these low and priority hangers, they're getting them out of the tree down to the ground where they're safe. They'll cut them up into small pieces and stack them neatly curbside for the citywide limb pickup to come through.
The special curbside collection program will begin the middle of this month once a contractor is selected. In the meantime, drop-off fees for city residents have been waived at the Yard Waste Drop-Off Center. And branches can also be placed inside curbside compost collection bins, as well as up to 3 bundles, no more than 6 feet long by 3 feet wide, to be picked up as part of the city's regularly scheduled service.
So one of the hardest hit species in this storm was white and green ash, which everybody probably knows by now. We've got the emerald ash borer beetle in Boulder. So any limbs that have come down out of ash trees, it's important that the limb wood in the larger wood is dealt with properly, picked up at the curbside pickup. It'll be ground to specification where we know that the larva inside the wood will be destroyed so that it's not spread elsewhere. So if for everybody who had an ash tree come down on their private property, please do not cut it into firewood and bring it other places. This is how the majority of emerald ash borer has been spread throughout the United States. So I think that's really a key message.
For questions regarding trees in the public right-of-way, call the Forestry Department at 303-441-4406. The City of Boulder is committed to finding different ways to communicate with the public. Lately, that has been through digital and online formats, but residents who don't have computers have been left out. In an effort to reach as many people as possible, the city is debuting a brand new newsletter.
So we're really excited to announce the beginning of a new program that includes a paper newsletter that we're mailing to homes throughout the City of Boulder. We will be mailing this to about 49,000 residences. It's a City Council project that's been funded for 2 years as a pilot to see if we can increase engagement in city programs, improve attendance at city events, and really connect with our community in a new way.
In creating a print product, the city was careful to choose how it was made.
As part of the requirements of printers who are submitting bids for this project, we asked that they use recycled content paper and that they follow standards that say that they're following safe forestry practices. We also made sure that all of these materials are such that the newsletter can be recycled after you read it, so we encourage you to do that.
The newsletter will be sent out every 2 months through the end of 2017 and will cover programs, services, and departments across the city. You can also access the newsletter on any of your mobile devices by visiting the city's website. To submit feedback on topics you'd like to see covered in future newsletters, send an email to communitynewsletter@bouldercolorado.gov. Recently, City Council recognized the volunteer service of Greg Bowles and his dedication to the Boulder-Jalapa Friendship City projects. Bowles was named Volunteer of the Year for his work in Jalapa to improve community water systems, schools, and other works.
Greg has been involved with Sister Cities for many years, and particularly in Jalapa. And in my opinion, having him involved down there in the country with the work that we're doing is so important. With the communication with the local community and the local water committee. Without that kind of communication, you just can't effectively do this kind of work.
Nicaragua is the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and there are some good things and bad things in Nicaragua that you don't see in many other countries, but for a country as poor as that, being able to do work that, volunteer work that benefits people there, that changes the conditions that they live in. And in this case, through Friendship City projects, it's mostly potable water that we work in. We take drinking water here in the United States for granted. It can't be taken for granted there. There isn't such a thing as a clean drinking water fountain or clean tap water for many of the communities and the families that we work with. So, as a volunteer, being able to help provide that, and again, I don't work alone, I work with an organization, I work with a community in a city that contributes to this effort. It makes a big difference in people's lives in Nicaragua, and I just find that adds so much value to my own life.
Boulder has 7 Sister City projects fostered by the city, and each year a volunteer is chosen from one of the projects for their outstanding service.
Just a big thank you to the City of Boulder for this recognition, both for myself and for Friendship City Projects, the Sister City program. We are all very, very appreciative of this. It broadens your outlook on the world. It gives you a perspective that you may never have had before in your life when you visit a country such as Nicaragua, or really hundreds of other countries around the world where people think a little differently and live a little differently than you do. It doesn't mean that the way you live is wrong, but it does mean that understanding that is an important part of, I think, being a North American. So it's not difficult to volunteer abroad. There are some things you certainly have to prepare for. It's nice to do some language study, though you certainly do not need to be fluent. It's nice to have some skills. If you are a teacher, if you're an engineer, if you're a medical professional, that's great, but you really don't need that as well. You just need the will to want to do something for other communities and other countries.
For more information about volunteering or donating, visit boulderjalapa.org. April 18th through 24th, Boulder is celebrating Earth Week. Events are scheduled across the city to help bring the community together to create a better future.
E-Town was launched on Earth Day, April 22nd, 1991. So this week marks 25 years of E-Town's history in Boulder. It's kind of a big deal for us. And Earth Day and Earth Week has always been really just an opportunity to continue the conversation that we engage in all year long. So we are always excited about being able to broaden the conversation to include more people.
Already we have 30 events and we have 2 weeks to go. So things are building, and it's springtime, so things are emerging, and it gets very hectic. Part of the inspiration here is to, and for me personally, with all the things we're going to be doing at E-Town, is okay, what kind of quietness in myself can I bring to the work that I'm going to do on the outside? I'm hoping that that early morning sit for me and maybe for others will be a source of connecting with ourselves deeply and coming out of it into a place of clear seeing where we can really be of benefit.
So 350 Boulder County is organizing a Fossil-Free Your Life neighborhood block party on April the 23rd, and it's going to be from 1 to 5 p.m. And the block party is going to be held between 6th and 9th Street on North Street. The whole focus of the event basically is to spotlight ways that our neighbors are starting to transition off fossil fuels and reduce their carbon emissions in their daily lives. And so the idea is that people really, we When we see the greatest amount of behavioral change is usually when people are seeing their peers do positive things, and then wanting to replicate that. And so what we're basically trying to do is create these really fun neighborhood events whereby people can come out, see what their neighbors are doing to reduce carbon emissions in their own lives, and also meet some businesses and nonprofits in our community who are helping people to make the transition off of fossil fuels to clean power, more earth-friendly choices in their gardens, and with their transportation choices, with their food, everything.
There's a lot of reasons that I would encourage folks to participate. One is just it's going to be immensely fun. So, you know, it's a cultural opportunity in our community, and we do those things really well, and so it'll be a lot of fun. But I think more important than that, this is really, I think, the kickoff to a next round of conversations that we're having throughout our community about this topic. Because look, when we first started the climate work 15 years ago, it was about if climate change was going to happen and how we would stop that from happening. What we now know is climate change is happening, and we have to prepare for that. So this isn't just about how we're going to save a little bit of energy here or there. It's literally how we're going to prepare for some very big earth changes that are happening, and how we're going to actually hopefully stabilize this climate and push it back in a positive direction. And that this isn't just about doing things that, you know, we're going to have to do less of and we're not going to like. It's actually the opening to do a lot of things that we would want to do anyway, like create a whole new energy system, like restore and improve our environment, like figure out ways that we don't need as much stuff and I can actually enjoy our lives more. That's what's actually at stake. So I would say to people, come in at any point you want during this week, but find in that opportunity the chance to connect to this larger conversation, because it's going to be happening throughout the summer. And then towards the fall, we're going to be having a big gathering that actually brings all of that feedback, that discussion, that rich information from the community back into one sort of summary event that's actually the kickoff for our next stage of action. So I don't think there could be a more exciting time to be a part of this issue and a part of this community, which is really one of the places in this world that's actually ready and able to take some exciting action.
C3 Boulder Climate Culture Collaborative put together a full calendar of events for Earth Week, and you can access it by visiting boulder.earth. To celebrate the launch of the Community Cultural Plan, the City of Boulder Office of Arts and Culture is hosting a special event at E-Town on Wednesday, April 13th. The launch event features Paul D. Miller, aka DJ Spooky, as well as performances from dance, theater, and literary innovators. Tickets are free and available on E-Town's website. Thank you for watching Inside Boulder News. Stay in touch with us on Facebook and Twitter by submitting news tips and questions. You can also sign up to receive video updates right in your inbox. Just go to boulderchannel8.com and click on subscribe.